Let's go. Kaimi Fairbairn has ice in his veins. The Texans got the 23-20 dub against the good Buffalo Bills team. I'm Lance Hayes, Sports Social Live. Let's get into it. All right. The Texans balled out. Well, they got the dub. Let's be real. It was a difficult game for the Texans as they go on to beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20. I had this game for the under. It hit. I had the Texans winning at home, representing the H in the middle of the field. And I also just figured this would be a gritty game. 23-20, sealed by a Kaimi Fairbairn 59-yard field goal with the ice in his veins. Shoot him up, beam him up, whatever. Stone face killer. Kaimi is going to come through. He's been doing it. When he's healthy, he's on. And I don't mind what he's got going on. I'm happy about the game. Now, it wasn't a pretty game at all. And I think that it's something to be said that the Texans are able to grit out wins when needed. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good to be a fan. Your stomach's always turning left and right. Me, I have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch these games from the Japan. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling. I don't like to be worried. I'm especially worried about when we play down to the team's levels like we might play against the Patriots. We have a history of doing that. We have a history of allowing the random linebacker from the middle of nowhere, Iowa, to have a game and go crazy on us. But in this Bills game, the Texans seem to at least put together a good, solid span of football. It wasn't a whole 4 quarters, but we got the best span of the season this game. It was a tight game for a majority of the time. The Texans had an opportunity to take away and just step off on the Bills, but in true Texans 2024 season fashion, they allowed the Bills to get back into the game. Mistakes, untimely penalties that could be questionable. There was a lot of things going on for the Texans that, we can talk about and go into detail, but it was a sloppy win, but gritty nonetheless. And the Texans found a way to make crucial plays down the stretch and down the pipeline. So this is a reminder, subscribe to the channel. I'm just starting to post. I'm getting active on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Hey, I'm going to put it out there. I have the time. I like the Texans. I'm trying to get it. Let's go. So one of the things I want to talk about, we're going to get a little active here. We're going to do a little something. We're going to talk about CJ Stroud's performance during the game. How did you guys feel about CJ Stroud's performance during the game? Tell me in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, do something. But I know you're talking about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, first things first, Buddy has an aura. He can find the camera, make the poses, and do what he has to do and make the big plays. He went 28 for 38, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and some questionable plays here and there. But he came away with a win and drove the Texans to some success. I questioned some of the actions he made, but I'm not in the game. He balled out, and he did something that I had been asking him to do for a lot of people have asked him to do for a long time, was pull the ball down and kind of go get those extra yards and make those linebackers respect him for the gamer that he is. I won't say a super athlete, but the gamer that he is. I'm happy that he was able to pull that ball down and kind of get us to seal the deal and Kaimi to go kick that field goal. So CJ, he had a decent game. He had early success. He went 10 for 11 at one. He was 10 for 10, 10 for 11 until he had that one incomplete pass. But he had challenges in the second half, and we can fully acknowledge that CJ has challenges. You can't ride CJ without giving him criticism. Pause. But you can't do that. You can't just continue to just say CJ the Great without giving him the criticism that is deserved, because that is only fair and it only allows him to be greater. He also was impacted. Like, he has not had his whole roster the total time. Somebody's been out, and it's the NFL. Injuries will be there. But we can't go without acknowledging that Mixon's gone, that his line has been makeshift, Tyus Howard out, that he's had a number one star-studded receiver, Nico Collins, get injured in this game. We have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that. And that's what I want people to start doing, is holding D'Amico and CJ accountable, not trying to be negative, because we do have some overly sensitive fans, especially on Texans Twitter. I see that stuff. But acknowledge that CJ and D'Amico are human and they can be criticized. That's what we have to do as Texans fans. We have to be realistic and just kind of mold our fan base to be get to where the standard should be. We have had a low bar for such a long time. We went from the booty bandit, craziness, just a trash organization, Easterby. We have to move the bar and set a standard and be that fan, the traveling fan base, the fan base that doesn't sell tickets, the fan base that holds their people accountable. I mean, hell, you saw Buffalo do that. Texans fans, we have to do better. So that means we have to hold our people accountable. When CJ plays bad or makes questionable calls, we have to hold him accountable on that. But one thing I liked, I mean, with all the ups and downs, it seems like CJ's making a connection with Dare. I didn't expect it. Do you put him on your fantasy squad? Hey, Dare's making plays left and right. He talked about it in some of the locker room interviews, and I kind of like that. What I don't like is the CJ playing against the blitz. I don't know what's going on. Is it him trying to? It's kind of like he's trying to overextend plays where he doesn't need to, and he's not trying to run. Like, sometimes he has the running ability out there. He has the ability to scoot for that 3 to 5 yards, but he doesn't, and then that causes the lineman to either get those random ticky-tack holding penalties to save him from getting hurt, or he kind of goes into getting sack pressured and it's an incomplete pass. I think that's something that he has to work on going forward, because he cannot – he has to separate himself from being the above average to that in that Patrick Mahomes level. And I'm pretty sure he can get there. Patrick Mahomes is going to pull that ball down and do that turkey trot to slide or run out of bounds. CJ has to be able to do that a little bit more. He said that Mixon and Diggs are telling him to do that. You see it more this season. I want to see it some more as we go forward through the season. But that blitzing impact to CJ does cause trouble, and it gives me some type of concern. I'm really kind of skeptical on if that's Slowick or is that CJ. Is it the line? Is it the running backs? What is causing such an issue with that? The whole kind of blitzing. Are we not able to pick it up? It might just be a cause or an effect of the play calling from Bobby Slowick. We don't know, but it has to be figured out. Again, it's Sports Social Live. I'm Lance Hayes. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Put something down below. I'm coming. Pause. I am out here trying to put some content out here. New on the block. Let's subscribe. 28 for 38, 331. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. CJ Stroud. Tell me how he played. Hey, we're rolling. Let's roll. We saw the blitz pickup that was bad on a Texans offense, but I did not mind how the Texans defense played if you can handle almost having a heart attack sometimes. But the bend but don't break defense with the young guns and the DBs, Alshire getting back. Let's pause. Let's talk about the linebacker play. I mentioned it in my previous video, but let's talk about the linebacker play from Toa and Alshire. Aziz was sick earlier in the week. They say he lost almost 10 pounds. I don't know if it's a storyline, how true it is, but you can tell he was impacted throughout the game. He balled out. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see he was our leading contributor to our defense. And you saw it. He should have had 2 consecutive picks. The man was everywhere. Eight tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, 2 passes defended, and 1 in QB hits. You have to give the man the credit. The linebackers balled out and played the entire game. That means left and right, sideline to sideline, under the pass, going up, stopping the ball in short down. These dudes balled out in nickel, nonetheless. The whole game running. That's tough. And you see the shape they're in. That's why they're ripped and look like Iron Man. These dudes are balling. Let's talk about how Stingley is active. He's working the flats, getting in on tackles. He was actually a top contributor. You had Tua, the number 3 contributor in the defense. And then you had Locke, Lassiter. All these guys are contributing to the defense. Luckily, we weren't playing against their number 1 receiver, but this was a confidence-building game for the defense, and it shows that they're able to bend but not break, and I'm okay with what went on with the defense. I do question how we'll look when Autry comes back, Christian Harris comes back. We have a lot of room to grow, and it will be great to see. Shocking, though, the first play of the game, Jimmy Ward was on the ground. Is it just time to go with the Rook? Is it just time to kind of get fresher legs in there? It's reminded me a lot of the Ed Reed era, but I don't want to say that yet. I think I'm a Jimmy Ward fan. I just see that he's getting injured. I mean, it's just a fact. So how do we feel about that? Tell me down in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. It's something I want to see. Random. The ref said basketball in the game. I thought I was tripping. Then the announcer said it. He was talking about basketball. That just shows you the state of our referees. I think referees should be paid $150 plus, and it should be a full-time salary job if it's not already. They shouldn't have to have another job. They should be fully focused on NFL football. That should be something that comes from the NFL PA. It should not be your local high school AD being a NFL referee. It should be NFL paid judges that are focused on NFL football. That's my rant for today. Okay, on to somebody else that we've been talking about. Slowick talk. I can't slow down. I'm gonna speed up. Bobby Slowick it seems like he's getting into his stuff. We're getting healthier players, but I question some of the play calling. The first drive was terrible, in my opinion. I was pissed. I think I posted on Texans Twitter and from SPORTSSOCIALTV on Twitter, on X. You saw me. I don't understand some of the logic behind his play calling. The screen plays, the over elaborate motions. I don't understand what he's going for. It seems like a prom lady who's trying to get too cute, and you just trying to chill with her with no makeup on, hair up, sweats, no makeup on type of thing. Like, you don't got to do all that, Bobby, to get to business. Let's get to action. I need Bobby Slowick to realize that he has a 3-headed monster at receiver when everybody's healthy. He has Mixon in the stable at running back, and he also has a defense that can assist when needed. So sometimes you don't have to get overly cute to make these plays or to get down the field. You see that Buffalo, they stopped being cute and just attacked. Sometimes you just have to attack, and I'm okay with the progression that we're making. We do have a lot of ceiling, but these overuse of screen plays, I think he just got in a rhythm of calling these elaborate screen plays, and it just it confused me as what he has going on. Maybe It's something to get the defenses out of position, to gas the defense, get them confused and use their speed against them, which is what screens are typically used for. But it just doesn't look like it's going well for our particular personnel. You tell me in the comments below, how'd you feel about Bobby? Was it Bobby? Is it just CJ audibly? It looks like it's coming from the sideline. So we're winning. We're barely scraping by, but we have to figure out a way. When we put up those 30 and 40-point games, 40 is a little excessive, but when we put up those 30 and we know we can go down there and score, that's when I feel like the Texans are turning a new leaf and we're able to be that true conference, division, and hopefully Super Bowl contender. That's what I know, when we're able to put all three phases of the game together. Speaking of all three phases of the game, special teams, man. Kick return, the dynamic kick, we're working on that. We're doing decent, but what is going on, man? Tommy Townsend, I think his name is Tommy Townsend, is not doing well at punter. I thought he would have a longer leg, thought he had a longer boot, but it seems like he's always making mistakes at punter. Our punt return, we are making so many just dummy punt return, and it's coming from veterans. It's just weird that we are having these issues, like high school issues. If you're a punt returner in high school and you see it go back there, I mean, let it fall, go back out the end zone and get the touchback. If it falls on a one, it was just a good punt. But come on, man. I just don't understand why they're going back there in between the 5-yard line and trying to catch. It's just weird. Why? So we have to be more disciplined in all three phases of football, but that punt returning has to do better. Like, special teams undisciplined has to get better. But you do have a bright side. Kaimi Fairbairn, 59-yard field goal, ice in his veins. You also have him the leading scorer for the Texans franchise. Great accomplishment for a seemingly great guy. I've met him one time, I believe, at one of the little fan meetups or whatever, but he seems like a good person. So he's a good representative for our organization. Reminds me of October 7th when Chris Brown nailed the game-winning field goal in 2007. And Chris Brown was a great kicker for the Texans. So we have to do better at our special teams. Shout out to Kaimi Fairbairn. Let's go. Moving forward, I just want to talk about Nico. I hope Nico's okay. But the dude is a baller, and I still question, was his hamstring hurt in the game as well? He was hurt earlier in the week. He was on the injury report, and I just see that, and now he's hurt for real. So hopefully he's able to take a rest and we're able to kind of get with the program and allow him to rest up against the Patriots. But we shall see. Hutch stepped up big for us in this game, and I'm okay with what he was doing. So let's hope that Nico is able to at least to get a week's worth of rest, maybe 2, and come back and be strong against the Patriots. That's kind of what I want to talk about today. Today we talked a little bit about, we did a recap of the game. We talked about CJ Stroud's performance. We talked about the defense, and we worked our way down to Bobby Slowick, then talked about our special teams and finished up a little bit with Nico Collins. I'm Lance Hayes, this Sports Social Live. Like, subscribe, share on YouTube at Sports Social Live, on Twitter at SPORTSSOCIALTV, on Instagram at SPORTSSOCIALTV. Like, subscribe, share, follow us.